The Galactic Council's Xenobiology Department had seen many strange things in their thousand-year history, but nothing had prepared them for the humans. Dr. Zixthala, the lead researcher from the crystalline Vorthak species, stared at the preliminary reports with what could only be described as horrified fascination. Her 4 optical sensors blinked in rapid succession, a clear sign of distress among her kind. "This cannot be accurate," she muttered, her voice resonating through the specialized frequency modulators that allowed different species to communicate. "Run the analysis again." Her assistant, a gaseous being from the Nephros cluster named Wispflow, shimmered with uncertainty. "I've run it 17 times, Doctor. The results are consistent. The humans, they consume poison. Regularly. For pleasure." The revelation had begun 3 weeks ago when the first human diplomatic vessel, the UES Harmony, had docked at Nexus Station. Captain Sarah Chen and her crew were the first humans to make formal contact with the Galactic Council, and the excitement among the xenobiological community was palpable. A new species, new biology to study, new dietary patterns to catalog. What they discovered defied all known principles of evolutionary biology. "Show me the ethanol consumption data again," Dr. Zixthala requested, her crystalline form dimming with what her species experienced as academic anxiety. The holographic display materialized before them, showing brain scans of humans consuming what they called alcohol. The xenobiologists watched in stunned silence as the human neural pathways literally slowed down, reflexes dulled, and cognitive functions impaired. "They call it relaxation," Wispflow reported, his gaseous form swirling with disbelief. "They intentionally poisoned themselves to achieve this state. But that was just the beginning. The capsaicin incident had nearly caused a diplomatic crisis. Dr. Zixthala had offered Captain Chen a selection of the finest delicacies from across the galaxy, sweet nectar from the singing flowers of Melodia Prime, nutrient-rich protein cubes from the ocean worlds, perfectly balanced mineral supplements that provided optimal nutrition with zero harmful byproducts. Captain Chen had politely declined and instead produced something she called hot sauce. "You might not want to stand too close," Chen had warned, with what the humans inexplicably called a smile, a facial expression that still confounded xenobiologists across the galaxy. The captain had then proceeded to douse her meal with a bright red liquid that registered on their instruments as a potent neurotoxin. Not only had she consumed it, she had actually requested more heat. The Galactic Council's emergency medical team had been on standby, expecting Captain Chen to collapse within minutes. Instead, she had consumed the entire meal, complimented the kick, and asked if they had anything spicier. "The scans show massive activation in their pain receptors," Dr. Zixthala noted, reviewing the data. "Yet they describe the sensation as enjoyable. How is this possible?" The mystery deepened when they discovered humans consumed other species' defense mechanisms as delicacies. Caffeine, a compound evolved by plants to kill insects, was something humans craved daily, often consuming doses that would be lethal to most Galactic Council species. They had entire social rituals around its consumption, gathering in establishments called coffee shops to voluntarily ingest this insecticide. Then came the revelation about chocolate. "Theobromine," Wispflow announced, his gaseous form flickering with academic excitement despite the disturbing implications. "Toxic to most carbon-based life forms. The humans have entire industries dedicated to refining and consuming it." Dr. Zixthala's optical sensors focused intently on the data. "And their response when we informed them of its toxic properties?" Captain Chen laughed, Wispflow reported. She said, and I quote, "Everything good in life is either illegal, immoral, or toxic. Chocolate is the trifecta." The final shock came when they analyzed human dietary history. Not content with consuming naturally occurring toxins, humans had actually learned to concentrate them. They fermented fruits to increase alcohol content, bred plants to contain higher levels of capsaicin, and had even developed synthetic compounds purely to experience new forms of flavor. "Doctor," Wispflow's voice carried an urgent tone, "there's more. They don't just consume these substances, they've weaponized them." The display showed humans using capsaicin as a defensive spray, alcohol as a solvent and antiseptic, and caffeine as a performance enhancer in situations requiring extended alertness. What other species considered deadly toxins, humans had turned into tools. Dr. Zixthala processed this information for several long moments. Her species had evolved on a world where the slightest chemical imbalance could prove fatal. They had spent millennia perfecting their diet to consume only the most nutritionally optimal, toxin-free substances. The idea of deliberately seeking out harmful compounds was beyond their comprehension. "Doctor?" Wispflow ventured. "How do we file this report? The Council will never believe that an intelligent species deliberately poisons itself for pleasure." Dr. Zixthala's form brightened slightly, the Vorthak equivalent of a resigned chuckle. "File it under adaptive advantages. It appears that by regularly exposing themselves to various toxins, humans have developed remarkable resistance to chemical warfare, enhanced their sensory experiences, and created social bonding mechanisms around shared consumption of dangerous substances." She paused, studying the data one more time. Most fascinating of all, they seem to have turned potential evolutionary disadvantages into strengths. Perhaps there's more to these humans than we initially assessed. The preliminary report would go down in Galactic Council history as the most bewildering first-contact biological assessment ever recorded. The humans, it seemed, had achieved intelligence not despite their tendency to consume toxins, but perhaps because of it. As Captain Chen had told them with that mysterious human smile, "We're not just survivors. We're thriving on the things that should kill us." The galaxy, Dr. Zixthala realized, was about to become a far more interesting place.